The Crimson Tide in the gritty port city of Crimson Bay, Louisiana, where the Mississippi Delta met the Gulf and the air smelled of salt and decay, lived Nathan and Abigail Cole. Nathan, 47, was a hard-edged dock worker with hands scarred from years of labor. Abigail, 44, was a waitress at a dive bar called the Rusty Anchor. Her beauty faded, but her spirit sharp. They'd been married 22 years, their life a struggle of paycheck survival. No kids, just a rundown trailer by the water, and a past stained with regret. But beneath their weary routine, a tide of blood and betrayal was rising. Prologue. The stain that stayed it began with a shirt. One humid August night, Nathan came home from a double shift to find Abigail scrubbing a white blouse in the sink. The water ran red, blood, fresh and stubborn. She jumped when he entered, muttering, spilled some wine at work. But the stain was too dark, too thick, and her knuckles were bruised. Nathan stared, unease curling in his gut. Whose blood? He asked. She snapped, "Drop it, Nate," and stormed off. The next morning, he found the blouse in the trash, torn and still damp. A crumpled note fell out. "Cleanup's done. Meet me at the pier. 2 am." Not her handwriting. Nathan's mind raced. Appeal was hiding something lethal. Chapter 1. The pier's secret 2 nights later. Abigail said she was covering a shift at the bar. She left at 9 p.m., her eyes darting nervously. Nathan waited an hour, then followed. The Rusty Anchor was quiet. No Abigail. He drove to the pier, a rotting stretch of wood where smugglers once ruled. In the moonlight, he saw her with a man, stocky bald, in a leather jacket, standing by a docked boat. Blood speckled the deck. Abigail handed him a duffel bag. He gave her a wad of cash. They didn't kiss, but their familiarity was palpable. Nathan crouched behind a crate, heart hammering. The man drove off in a grey sedan. Abigail lingered, staring at the water. He trailed her home, where she hid the cash under the trailer's floorboard. She didn't sleep that night. Nathan heard her pacing till dawn. Chapter 2. The Bald Enforcer. Nathan kept silent, watching. The next day, he asked his co-worker, Jimmy, a wiry ex-con, about a bald guy at the pier. Jimmy paled. "That's Roy Decker. Runs muscle for the Gulf cartel down here." Bad news. People vanish around him. Nathan dug into old arrest logs at the library. Roy, 50, had a rap sheet a mile long. Assault, extortion, suspected murder, never convicted. No link to Abigail, but Jimmy added, "He's got a girl he meets out there. Word is, she's in deep." Nathan searched Abigail's things. In her purse, a burner phone with texts from R. "Next job's bigger. Friday. Don't flake. Sent yesterday." He gripped the phone, fury and fear colliding. Chapter 3. The blood-stained trail. Nathan enlisted Jimmy, who owed him a favor. "Tail her Friday," he said. Jimmy nodded, wary. That night, Abigail left at midnight, claiming a friend needed help. Jimmy followed, reporting back. She went to the pier. Roy was there, plus a woman, tall, blonde, twitchy. They loaded something heavy into the boat, wrapped in tarp. Smelled like death. Jimmy got a grainy photo. Abigail and Roy dragging the bundle, the blonde woman holding a gun. Nathan's stomach churned. "That's Vicky Lane," Jimmy said. "Roy's cleaner makes bodies disappear." Nathan realized Abigail wasn't just cheating, she was part of a murder crew. Chapter 4. The Crimson Cache. Nathan broke into the trailer's crawl space while Abigail slept. Under the floorboards, $25,000 in blood-stained bills, a knife with a dried red blade, and a list of names, some crossed out, some not. His name wasn't there, yet. A note in Roy's scrawl read, "She's soft." "Watch her," the burner phone buzzed. "Pier, now. Bring the cash." He drove to the pier, hiding in the shadows. Abigail arrived, Roy and Vicky waiting. A body lay at their feet, fresh, a man Nathan didn't know, throat slit. Abigail handed over the duffel. Roy barked, "You're late." "Next time you're the cleanup," Vicky smirked, kicking the corpse into the bay. Nathan gagged, retreating silently. Chapter 5. The ghost of the past Nathan called his estranged uncle Ray. A former detective turned recluse. Ray arrived, grizzled and suspicious. "That's cartel work," he said, studying the photo. "Roy's their enforcer, Vicky's his shadow. Abigail's either a pawn or a player." Ray hacked the burner's records, calls to Roy, Vicky, and a third number. A woman named Lena Rousseau, a cartel fixer missing for months. Ray dug up Lena's file. Last seen with Abigail at the Rusty Anchor a year ago. Nathan remembered. Abigail had come home shaken, claiming a bar fight. Had she killed Lena? He confronted her that night, knife and cash on the table. She screamed, then broke. "Roy's my brother, Nate." Half-brother, Mom's secret. He dragged me into this after Lena. I didn't want to, but they'd kill us both. Chapter 6. The body count rises, Abigail confessed. Lena had been her friend, a waitress turned cartel mule. When Lena threatened to snitch, Roy ordered Abigail to kill her or die. She'd slit Lena's throat in a panic, binding her to Roy's crew. The cash was blood money. The pier jobs were disposals. I hate it, she sobbed. But I'm trapped. Nathan didn't trust her tears. He and Ray planted a tracker on her car. The next night, it led to a warehouse by the Delta. Inside, Roy, Vicky, and 2 new bodies, executed. Abigail cleaned the scene, her hands trembling. Ray recorded it, enough to bury them. Chapter 7. The Crimson Reckoning. Nathan and Ray set a trap. They leaked a fake drop to Vicky through a dock snitch claiming Abigail had flipped. That night, Roy's crew gathered at the pier. Roy raging, Vicky armed, Abigail silent. Ray tipped the feds, who stormed in with lights and guns. Vicky fired, killing an agent before taking a bullet to the chest. Roy fought, but was tackled, blood pooling from a grazed scalp. Abigail froze, dropping the knife as cuffs snapped on. Police found Lena's remains in the bay, tied to Roy's boat. The warehouse yielded $300,000 in cash and drugs. Cartel gold. Abigail's prints were on the knife. Her prints were on Lena. Chapter 8. The tide turns. Abigail face trial. Her pleas of coercion crumbling under evidence. She got 15 years, life for Lena, reduced for testifying. Roy and Vicky got life without parole, their empire drowned. Nathan didn't wait for sentencing. He burned the trailer, left Crimson Bay, and vanished into the swamps, a ghost of his former self. Epilogue. A blood rise in Crimson Bay's tides rolled on, washing away the stains of that summer. Nathan lived off the grid, haunted by Abigail's screams and Lena's face. She sent one letter from prison begging forgiveness. He let it sink in the bayou. Some sins he knew stained deeper than blood.